First story, the Minister for Defense, Dr. Omane Boamah, has disclosed a troubling development involving the disappearance of a large cache of ammunition that was moved from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security Secretariat. Speaking during a media briefing as part of the Government Accountability Series, Dr. Omane Boamah said the official reviewed that thousands of rounds of ammunition have gone missing following their official transfer between the two state institutions. While details remain limited, the defense minister described the situation as serious and confirmed that an internal investigation has been launched to determine how the ammunition went unaccounted for after the transfer. Sources within the defense ministry say the transfer was part of routine interagency operations. However, the missing ammunition has raised questions about oversight, accountability, and security protocols between the Ghana Armed Forces and the national security. Take a listen.
It is with confidence and pride that I state that to a very large extent, Ghana is safe, stable, peaceful, and ready to experience a golden age under the reset agenda of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. We have kept our nation safe and stable, notwithstanding the irregular transfer of thousands of rounds of military ammunition in 2024 from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security Outfit. Ammunitions which have since not been accounted for. Let me touch on missing ammunitions. I must say that, yes, it is not every detail that I can provide at this stage. But the fact that it's taking this long to capture it in this minute detail should tell you there must be a reason. If you go back to the President's State of the Nation address 2025, he hinted at it. This is the next phase. But the reality is that to date, those ammunitions have not been accounted for. How the Ghana Armed Forces could transfer ammunitions to national security that doesn't have a fighting force in 2024 is a question that will definitely have to be answered. The Ghana Armed Forces has passed it on to the National Security Secretariat for the National Security Secretariat to investigate it, since they were the recipients of the ammunitions. But what we are doing is, under our watch, under our watchful eyes, any such incidents will not be dealt with like the way it was handled in the past. So whilst we have encircled this and handed it over to national security for national security to handle, whatever will fall within our domain from January onwards, trust that we will deal with it the way the military knows best.
So that's the Defense Minister, Dr. Omane Boamah. I am privileged to have fraud and security consultant Richard Komado, who has been in this space for a very long time. Mr. Komado, thank you so much for your time, always on 505. First, let me have your reaction to this development.
No, we are aware. Some of us who work within the security intelligence community are aware of this arms transaction. We are aware. There are things we discussed privately. So I'm happy today he made it publicly. He took him 7 months to make him publicly. People are agitated, people are worried, and people are scared that this is what our country was sitting on. And only God knows what would have befallen us in this country. But this is the level of ineptitude and laxity we have. And this is what we use our country for. And this is what has become of us. So when decisions are taken and people complain and people read all manner of meanings into it, these are army commanders who have worked and distinguished themselves for all these years. This is how they ended. Transferring ammunitions and, weapons to National Security Secretariat, which has no depot and which has no standing force, as you heard from the minister. What? It is the last thing you would have imagined. But this is where we are. This is what we did with our country. And we should pat our heads with shame as trained officers and as people who swear an oath to be loyal to the state. I don't think this is loyalty. I think this is quality, and that is what it is. Secondly, I want to suggestively recommend to my big brother, Omane Boamah, that it is National Security Secretariat that received the ammunition. So the appropriate investigative body to investigate this crime, it should be the BNI or the NIB. Because the ammunitions were transformed, they were transferred or moved from military barracks into National Security Secretariat.
Yeah.
So National Security Secretariat, as the recipient of the ammunition, cannot be investigated themselves. We should make it as quickly as possible. If it's not on the decks of my brother Chaskipo, the director, BNI, that this matter must get to his desk as quickly as possible. And the BNI, with the capacity they have, should be able to investigate this case as quickly as possible. What are the tendencies and what are the implications? Either they sold it into the black market, they sold it to galamseyers, or they are hiding in the rooms and kitchens of political party vigilantes who are looking for opportunity to unleash mayhem onto this country and the citizens of this country.
We know that this is a very worrying one, but what could be the error during the transfer, especially when it's between two state security institutions?
There was no error. It was a deliberate attempt. There was no error. There's a standard procedure for moving ammunition. There's a standard procedure for transferring arms. I wish you would have some of those big guys at the helm of affairs of the military and ask them to justify why those arms were moved to National Security Secretariat. I put in 29 years, and I can tell you the things we know. We can't say some of them on air. What is the operational capacity of the National Security Secretariat? And what were their operations about? What were they operating on? Who was the operational commander? And what was the chain of command? And what did they need those ammunitions for? Election 2024? May the God Almighty we say be praised, and may the gods we visit at our shrines be worshipped. Only God knows what would have been falling us in this country. If the intentions and purposes of certain people would have come true.
So there's a transfer of ammunition from the Ghana Armed Forces to the national security. Who is to blame? Is it the receiver?
It's not blame. We should stop using the word blame. Accountability.
Because
people need to be held accountable.
Because you are
talking
about a procedure
of how these ammunitions were transferred or they were moved from one location to another. And within the chain of command, somebody received them. There's supposed to be an audit. Who received what, on what date, and for what purpose. And afterwards, what happened? To the extent that Omane Boamah, who is the defense minister, says they cannot be accounted for, they cannot be found, it means that somebody moved them from somewhere.
Exactly. But that's what I'm asking, that who is to blame? Because you are talking about a process, and the process begins from the Ghana Armed Forces.
Yes, so everybody within the chain who gave an order for a movement, who gave an order for receipt, who gave an order for storage, who gave an order for operation, who gave an order for retrieval, all of them within the chain of command has to be held accountable, and they have questions to answer.
Fantastic. So you said that it shouldn't be the duty of the national security to investigate, because they are the receiver, and so they cannot investigate. They cannot be the judge in their own case. You've talked about BNI handling the case. How, apart from BNI handling the case, would it be proper that within that time the officers in charge, of course, by now we should know the officers in charge by now, especially the time that it was transferred, should they be hauled before a committee to deal with this matter?
No. Let the BNI investigate. These are investigators. They will do a job and hand it over to the Attorney General. If the Attorney General decides to prosecute, because the responsibility of prosecuting is for the state, and the Attorney General represents the state. And sometimes that is my worry. When I was working in the BNI, we go to court and prosecute cases. The police go to court and prosecute cases. When cases involve politicians and you have a politician as Attorney General, that may raise a red flag for us. So investigations are done. The docket is sent to the Attorney General. If the state decides to prosecute, they go ahead. If they decide not to prosecute, the court can't do anything. And this is the democracy we have.
Should we be worried, especially when small arms and ammunition?
You are worried. Our mothers are worried. Since morning, since afternoon, I've spoken about this issue. A whole lot of people, we did a quick survey, and a whole lot of people are worried. Their blood pressures are going up. My brother Adam Bona at the Small Arms Commission is struggling to deal with proliferation of arms in this country. The arms within the Galamsey area is huge. Violent crimes involving arms is going up. So for victims of armed robbery and for victims of arms dealings, they will be worried. They will seriously be worried. So when the minister said we should not be worried, I disagree. The only way the people will not be worried and what can allay the fears of the people is one, when the weapons are retrieved, and number two, when people are held accountable, and number three, when people are publicly prosecuted for this one, and number four, when things are done properly, that going forward, this army you have will be more professional and will stop this negative attitude. These are the things that will allay the fears of the citizens that we are in good hands. But just saying we should not be worried, bro, no way. Somebody has to be held accountable.
I see. Well, finally, before you go, now the minister has stated it clear that the national security should handle the case. You're also talking about the BNI. How should the minister come back again to address the issue?
Various institutions, various investigative institutions can investigate the same case at the same time. So all of them can handle it. Yoko can get involved. The CID block can get involved. Everybody must get involved.
Right.
All investigative agencies must get involved because we cannot contradict the minister. But the minister knows that national security receive it, they cannot investigate themselves. Having said that, these are new crop of people. So they can investigate what happened and put the paper trail out there. But the BNI has the capacity to investigate this case to its logical conclusion. I believe Yoko can do it. All of them can do it at the same time. It is crime against the state and the citizens of this country. And all of them, as the taxpayers pay them, and as people with capacity and expertise in the investigations, they should be able to investigate it and tell Ghanaians what exactly happened and who are the culprits and what did they do with the arms.
Mr. Komado, thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm grateful. So that's foreign security consultant Richard Komado. So he is of the view that the BNI should handle the case instead of what the Defense Minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, indicated that the national security should handle the case themselves because they are the